Early Morning, Chapter 21. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Mira Rose, with artwork for the opening and thumbnail image by Cat Saturn on Instagram. You can find a link to Cat Saturn art in the description box, as well as links to the prior 20 chapters of this story. If you're still listening, comment Rusty, because it's been 11 months since your narrator stepped into a recording booth. Please enjoy Early Morning, Chapter 21. Marinette Dupang Chang, 11:15 a.m. Marinette knew she should be concerned about Cat Noir right now. Well, Adrien. Whatever. She knew if she needed to worry about anyone, it'd be him, but she couldn't get Plague out of her head. Not that she was worried about the Kirby-esque creature, but rather what he stood for. A Kwami. A little partner. She'd had one of those once, and she couldn't even remember her. A yearning gripped her, and even though it might be her who missed her Kwami, Marinette owned these feelings. It didn't matter if the little partner was Ladybug's. She was still her friend because, well, she'd have met her as Marinette first, right? Her Kwami, her Tiki, was quite possibly the only person who wouldn't mistake Marinette for Ladybug. Or maybe Marinette was crazy and denying reality. Why did she have to lose her memories in the first place? Then she wouldn't feel like a backup character in her own superhero journey. Well, not that she was a superhero anymore, but still. If only she had someone to talk to. Someone who wasn't Cat, or Adrien, rather, about this. He'd kept too much from her and proved himself untrustworthy for the whole truth at a time. If she had another Miraculous holder to answer her questions, then perhaps... Aspic. Adrien was Aspic at one point, which was confusing to think about, as he was literally Cat Noir, but now that Miraculous was with someone else. Pokemon? Viperman? Luca was his name, wasn't it? Ladybug might have done some due diligence before blowing her life up, but maybe she'd underestimated her own resourcefulness. Marinette grabbed her phone and opened up the contact list. Bingo! Past her didn't delete her ex's phone number. Before Marinette could wonder about how it ended and if they were on good terms, she pressed the call button next to his name. Marinette? Her stomach flipped at the voice that answered after 2 rings. Hi, Luca? Yes? She hadn't thought this far ahead. Is everything all right, Marinette? Where are you right now? Would you like to meet up, Marinette? Her face burned hotter each time he said her name. Wow. Ladybug must have liked him in earnest if even Marinette could feel butterflies. Well, you see... Did he know she lost her memories? Did anyone tell him about her? Did they use the cover story of an accident, or did he know about her being Ladybug? He shouldn't, right? Yes? Right, I'd like to meet up if that's okay. I've got some questions, and, She swallowed, then realized he waited for her to finish her sentence instead of doing it for her. I've got some questions about the last few years. About Ladybug? She didn't know enough about him to know for certain, but it almost sounded like he smiled as he asked. Yeah, about Ladybug. I'll be at your place in 10. How's that? Relief sank her nervousness, letting her float with a clear mind for a moment before swimming for new bearings. Yes, that sounds great. See you then, Luca.
And Marinette?
Yes?
It's nice to hear your voice again.
How are you supposed to respond to a line like that? Marinette did the only sensible thing she could think of. She hung up without saying goodbye. Oops. The entrance bell of the bakery rang multiple times over the next 15 minutes, and Marinette spent the entire time half monitoring, half hiding behind the counter as her eyes analyzed each face that walked through the door. Not knowing what Luca looked like only added to her anxieties. He'd been an age-appropriate boyfriend, right? At the oldest, he'd be, 19 now? Maybe 20? Or maybe they were the same age. What was his last name? Could she cyberstalk him in the meantime? Marinette half sat, half squatted in a chair as she stared at the bakery door, almost willing this Luca person to come through the door. He said he'd be here in 10, but that was 20 minutes ago. They hadn't moved, had they? No. This was her childhood home. Memories or not, she knew she'd lived here her entire life.
Marinette?
Her mother poked her head in. Luca is upstairs for you. Oh, at her place. As in her home, not the bakery. That makes more sense, actually. They dated, hadn't they? It's only natural he'd know how to actually enter her home. I'm coming!
No need to rush.
A boy of a man followed her mother in, and Marinette's chest tightened. Without knowing him, she knew who he was. Luca.
It's been some time, Marinette.
She gave him a once-over, which turned into a twice-over as she tried to take him in. Blue hair? Did Ladybug have a thing for the punk boy aesthetic? Then again, she dated him as Marinette, hadn't she? Sure, Luca was, well, handsome, but he's not what she imagined. Blue hair? Really, Ladybug? You dated the boy with the blue hair? Wait a minute, she said, narrowing her eyes. She knew this guy, and not just in a weird memory wipe jumble familiarity kind of way. Jagged Stone's guitar player?
I play with my dad sometimes, yeah.
Luca crossed his arms, leaning against the doorframe.
Although, that's not how we know each other.
Ladybug dated Jagged Stone's son and Gabriel Agrest's son? What kind of pull did she have? A baker's daughter should not have this kind of pull. And again, superheroine. She could think about that later. Yes, right. Well, hello, Luca? How does one greet someone who is a stranger when they remember the taste of your lips, but you can't return that knowledge?
Do you mind if we do this sitting down? I'm sure you have questions.
He wanted to jump right into it instead of pleasantries? Okay. Maybe Ladybug had an eye for men after all. I want to know more about Tiki and the Kwamis. Luca smiled as she berated herself for glossing over his suggestion.
I'll tell you everything I know. Come on.
Oh. Okay. No hoops to jump through or long-winded stories to distract her from her questions? Just ask and answer? That was different. He was different from Cat Noir, from Adrien. Did he know Cat Noir was Adrien? She'd better keep her mouth shut about that until she knew for sure. Regardless, he offered her his hand as he turned to lead her upstairs, and she took it. Warm and comforting to the touch, Marinette held Luca's hands until they got to the living room, and she couldn't drown out the beat in her ears. This boy was important to her. This boy was important to her, and until today, she hadn't spared him a second thought. Once again, Marinette found herself appalled at Ladybug's decision. If she knew she'd lose her memories, why hadn't she prepared Marinette's life to be better than the bruises on shins that come from rearranging furniture? "It's funny," she said, taking a seat beside him on the couch. "All of these questions, and yet I can't think of a single one to ask now that I have someone who would be willing to answer them."
"Just start with one."
Luca placed his hand over hers.
"It's like tuning your guitar before you play. If you jump right in without making sure everything is as it should, you won't have a good session."
"Right. Yeah. Start with the easy stuff."
"You don't have any of the Miraculouses anymore?"
Startled, Marinette shook her head. So he knew she was the guardian too then, didn't he? No. No, I don't. I'm not really sure about kwamis and all that either."
"Well, let's start there."
Marinette wasn't sure if it was the anticipation making her heart race, or if it was the guy in front of her being open and honest, but she'd get through this either way. She needed to know who she was. She'd lost a part of herself, something more than memories. This conversation might be the closest she'd ever get to tracing the scars left behind. Thank you so much for listening. Chapter 22 is on the way. I'll be honest, I completely forgot how to do Luca's voice. I'd have to go back and listen to, other recordings. I remember how to do Marinette. I remember how to do Adrien. But, Luca's line came up, and I'm like, I don't know what this man sounds like in my voice anymore. I know what his voice actors sound like. I don't remember. I'm babbling. TLDR, I need to brush up on all my voices. Oh. If you're still listening, comment babbling. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!